Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to our next episode of Masters of Product. In our studio today, we have Ely Kahn. Ely is the VP of Product at SentinelOne. He has over 20 years of experience in product and cybersecurity. And prior to that, he was actually a product leader at AWS Security Hub, and then, of course, a cybersecurity director at the White House. Our topic for today is actually how do you drive AI adoption in large enterprise-grade product teams. As for me, I'm your host, Mustafa Kapadia. I help product organizations like Ely's use AI to become more effective and efficient. You can learn more about me and my content at echo-point.com. Ely, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. This is our take two for some of the people who joined last week. We had some technical issues, but I'm glad that we're actually finally doing this live and, well, in person, so to speak. Ely, if it's okay with you, let's kind of just jump in, yeah?
Sounds good.
So, Ely, you and I connected almost, it's been September, October of last year, right? And it was a great conversation. And you know, you talked to me like, Mustafa, I know we're building a lot of stuff with AI in our product. But I really want to use AI to make my team more effective and efficient, which is really the genesis of our conversation. But if you think about that time period, not a lot of CPOs were thinking that way, right? And which is why we connected so well. So I'm curious, what made you come to that conclusion that, you know what, let's use this internally as well as building products? Because at least now it seems like table stakes, but a year ago, it was a relatively new idea.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit background to this. So SentinelOne, which is the company I'm at and where I'm head of product at, we are an AI-powered cybersecurity platform. We reinvented a lot of the legacy cybersecurity space about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When we introduced AI to better detect malware. Now, that AI was machine learning. It was supervised and semi-supervised machine learning. We were training algorithms on labeled malware to recognize new forms of malware, before they showed up on any threat intelligence feed or signature list. So, AI is in our DNA, but it was always sort of a relatively small group of data scientists inside the company that were doing the AI work. That's where all the AI knowledge and talent was. And I've been closely tracking the advent of generative AI from the very beginning. With ChatGPT 3.0 when it was released, and was playing around with it right from the start, and saw the progress that was happening from like ChatGPT 2.5 to 3.0 to 3.5. It was clearly on this exponential growth curve in terms of capability. So about a year ago, we got together. I think we were introduced actually by my boss, Rick Smith, and I wanted our PM team as a whole to get on this generative AI train, because look, the only way that SentinelOne, I think, can stay relevant and at the top in terms of being the number one AI-powered cybersecurity platform, is if all of our product managers deeply understand these new advanced forms of AI, and they are all thinking about how to embed AI into all of their features. So I was coming at this twofold. I wanted to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of my PMs in terms of speeding up how we do product requirements, how quickly we go from requirements to prototyping. But I also wanted my PMs to all inherently understand these new forms of AI so that they could be thinking about how to embed it in their feature sets.
Yeah. And I agree. I think that it's a twofold benefit, like you said, is number one is you actually have a much more productive and effective product team. But also, if they use it, they can build better AI products, which ultimately helps you in the long run. So it's a 2-for-1 strategy.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if you remember this, but when we first had a conversation, or maybe it was the first or second conversation, what I really enjoyed is that you said, you know, I asked you a question, I'm like, Eli, how do you use AI? And you said, Mustafa, let me just show you. And actually, we did a screen share, which I thought was great because, and I say that because of even to this day, when I talk to other CPOs and head of product, most of them still have a very surface level use of AI. But even you at that moment in time were already deep into AI. So you saw the power and you're like, my team needs to be able to do this. Like if I can do this, my team should do that, right? And I think that also is a very important part of that leadership piece, because if you are not using AI as a leader, it becomes very hard for others to follow, right?
100%. You know, I was in a unique situation where in late 2003, I took on an IC role in addition to my head of product role to launch our Purple AI product, which is our
That's right.
generative and agentic AI assistant and virtual SOC analyst.
Yes.
So I actually put on the IC role and launched the initial version of that product. So I was personally getting very deep into AI because I launched one of the first AI security products on the market. And coming out of that, you know, I had a deep interest in figuring out how do we spread this knowledge across the team. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, I try to lead by example here. You know, I've built out a number of custom GPTs myself for the larger teams usage, and I think, you know, when the other PMs see me putting an emphasis on this, they realize that, you know, this is something that they also need to focus on.
Well, we know, you know, we had a podcast with one of your PMs, Ben, yesterday, and he was talking about how you've actually even created a digital twin of yourself.
Yes.
that you've given your team so they can actually spar with the virtual Eli before they actually meet with the real one. So
yeah. So yeah, one of the first custom GPTs I built actually as part of the capstone project for your training was a digital twin. And you know, for that, you know, I have a lot. Let me back up for a second. So, you know, I brought over a lot of the AWS product management techniques and mechanisms and processes over to SentinelOne. And so at SentinelOne, we're very much a document-oriented product management culture. We're a globally distributed team with PMs literally in all across the world. So the only way we can really scale is through async document reviews. So it's a very important part of our process here. And we write a lot of documents, product requirement documents in the form of PRFAQs, which stands for press releases and frequently asked questions, decision narratives, strategy narratives, one pagers, etc. And there's too many documents for me to review all at once. So I built a digital twin as a custom GPT in ChatGPT, loaded up that digital twin with a bunch of guidance that I've given PMs in various places, you know, ranging from like, don't use weasel words to specific templates for different types of documents that I want to see, to examples of what I think are great documents. And we actually built out this custom GPT to review those, you know, documents as if it was me, and to actually score the documents and give specific guidance about how to improve them. It's actually our most used custom GPT.
Well, they get access to you and your thought leadership before you actually get there in person. I mean, it makes perfect sense, and it actually helps you. Not just it's a cool use case, but frankly speaking, it's a great management tool, right? Because you are getting in, you're making sure that the quality that you expect is coming through from all your PMs. So if it's okay, let's circle back. So, you know, we had this conversation. You wanted to build an AI first product organization. So, and I know you and I started talking about different strategy and approaches, but I'm curious, how did you guys go about doing this?
Well, um, it's been very much a bottom up effort, I would say.
Yeah.
Obviously the decision to train all 60 of our product managers, that was a top down decision.
Hmm.
Um, and a decision I'm really glad we made a year
Yeah.
ago. But from there, once we did the training, it's been very organic and bottom up
Yeah. It's
in
perfect.
terms of taking that training and really operationalizing it. Um, Folks have been very motivated
I think that's
to
awesome.
take these concepts and bake them into their processes.
Yes.
So, as part of the training, we did these capstone challenges where everyone built either a custom GPT or like an agentic workflow using an automation solution called Workato. And we built over 40 of those across the
Wow.
PM team. And I went through and looked at them yesterday. 30 of them are actively being used. Like 30 of
Perfect.
them are production grade,
Nice.
and currently in use.
That's great. And
And
I
this, yeah, go ahead.
no, I said I love the fact that yes, you had the top down strategy of being AI first, then of course you put the boot camp program together. But then really what I really liked about you and the team is that you have allowed your PMs to just kind of go crazy, right? And that bottoms up strategy has really worked well for you. Um, and which is great. It really talks about what you first what you mentioned earlier is that you are an AI first company to begin with because that's in your DNA, and so this is just building on that DNA. So that makes it so much easier,
Yeah.
right? And like I said, when I was talking to Ben yesterday, he was talking about all the different Workato pieces that you're talking about, as well as how he's using it, how the other teams are using it, and it's great to hear that it's kind of it has a life of its own,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, so we've AI enabled just about every PM process we have at this point,
Perfect. Yeah.
ranging from writing requirements documents, translating those requirements documents into detailed Jira epics and stories,
Yeah.
um, writing documentation, writing launch release notes.
Yes.
Um, we've even now started taking some of these concepts and building features around them.
Oh, perfect.
Um, so, uh, Purple AI, one of the features that we've been having a hard nut cracking, one for Purple AI,
Mhm.
is how to really spread Purple across all parts of the stack. Like the
Mm.
initial use case for Purple AI was, to enable natural language search and summarization on all the data in our data lake. And as a result from these capstone projects, I've had PMs now take these concepts and write requirements around
Perfect.
embedding these concepts in other parts of the
Nice.
platform. And I don't think they would have been able to do that
Yes.
until they actually got their hands
Yeah.
deep into these concepts and like more deeply understood them.
Yeah.
So that's been really exciting. And we've now also begun having PMs directly prototype products.
That is the
Like
next wave. Yeah.
they're writing the code via vibe coding
Yeah.
and then bringing a working prototype to
Yeah.
engineering
Yeah.
and say like, yes, I've got this requirements document, but hey, I also can show you what this thing should
What
do
it look like.
with a
Yes.
working prototype. And this is goes in some cases this goes beyond just sort of like like workable or clickable
Yeah.
mocks. Like PMs are like building database backends so
Oh,
that
nice.
these things are like full stack
Nice.
applications. Um, and this is like the next step. Like
This is
we're starting to do that. We've done it a handful of times, but I envision us to be in a place, by the end of this year, early next year, where every PM is delivering a workable or clickable prototype
which is great.
in addition to a requirements document.
Yeah, and it just brings, number one, it brings the requirements document to life, but more importantly, you're cutting massive amount of cycle time by just doing this, right? And instead of the back and forth that usually happens between PMs and engineering, you actually have a code. I'm curious, are your engineers taking some of that code and then rewriting on top of it, or do they start from scratch? Because that is the next wave of
Yeah.
what's happening, right?
Yeah. So yeah, some of the prototyping tools allow you to ship code to GitHub,
Yeah,
which then can be shared with engineering. Some don't. We're standardizing right now on our preferred prototyping tool. So I think we probably will select the one that allows you to ship code to GitHub and then share that
yes,
with engineering. I think there's a lot of value there.
yeah,
Um, but I would say also, on the PM side, we were really the first part of the organization to deeply embrace using AI to transform our processes.
yeah,
And, um, I think we put, a flag down, and other teams have now, been jumping in. So,
yeah,
we've now rolled out a vibe coding tool to our entire engineering organization.
perfect.
The majority of engineers have adopted it or using it on a weekly basis. We're seeing some breakthroughs, like some parts of the code base which came from acquisitions that never had the right testing coverage.
Mm,
We've closed all those gaps in dramatic time fashion compared to like
perfect.
the
Yeah,
the pain to try to do it historically. So we're seeing this, and like the PMs have also been really great about working cross functionally, and like, okay, let's go work with our documentation team and show them how to write documentation more
yeah,
effectively using this tooling, or let's go work with our sales team and show them how to generate win-loss report summaries
yes,
automatically.
yeah,
um, and working, of course, really closely with our UX team on our
yeah,
prototyping, AI-based prototyping efforts has been another one.
yeah. And I love the fact that the second order benefits have been so much greater, right? Because I know when we first started the program, we were focusing very much on the first order benefits, but the impact of the rest of the organization is something that you could have never predicted,
Yeah,
right? And it's just been
yeah,
fantastic. And now a PM is actually driving the velocity for the rest of the organization. um, Actually, if it's okay, let's step back. So tell me, what are the benefits you're seeing? I know these are anecdotal, but I know you actually went up to the board with some hard numbers as well. So I'm curious, what results have you seen so far? What are you reporting? And what has been the response from the board and the C-suite?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the benefits are estimates because we're not asking PMs to punch time clocks
Yeah,
or anything like that. So they're sort of back of the envelope estimates. Um, and it's not that we're like reducing the number of PMs needed. Like, in fact,
yeah,
we're adding more PMs to our team right now.
100%.
But historically, the PMs on our team were the most overworked parts of the company.
Yeah,
uh,
not surprising.
the we do an employee engagement survey each year, and one of the questions asked is my workload manageable? And
Mm.
PMs historically have scored lowest in the company on that. It's a tough role, right? You're
It's a
juggling
very tough
a
role. I
lot of
agree.
different responsibilities. You're asked to essentially be a mini CEO of your product
Yeah,
area, and so it's a tough job. So one of my main goals is to make that workload more manageable so that they can get, maybe it took someone 2 or 3 weeks to write a good requirements document. I think they can do that now exponentially faster. It can
yeah,
be done in 2 or 3 days.
yeah.
Um, and so, those time savings, they multiply when working across a
Across
team of
all
60
60
plus
PMs. Yeah,
PMs. You know, it could be somewhere in the thousands of hours saved per month.
yeah,
It's hard to estimate, but like if you do the back of the envelope, considering like every PM is working on a product requirements document at any given point in time, it could easily be in the thousands.
Yeah.
And this is allowing PMs to, one, scale themselves and maybe get to things that have been deep in their backlog that they haven't been able to get to, but also just have a better work-life balance. Like, I don't want my PMs to feel like they have to be working 16-hour days.
No.
And this allows them to have that better balance.
And be more creative, right? This actually allows them to be more creative, which is one of the reasons I think why it's taken on so well within your team, right?
For sure, for sure. I mean, like, gosh, even just like coming up with silly things like slogans for team T-shirts. Like, I've got PMs now, like, using it for that. These tools are
I
amazing.
think that's awesome. So, and I know one of the things that you did was right after the boot camp, you actually went in and presented to, I believe, the board, or was it the C-suite, in which you actually showed them what your PMs can do.
Yeah.
Right?
We
And how so tell us more, what did you show them, and more importantly, how was the reaction from the executives?
So, as I mentioned, we had 40 or so different custom GPTs and agentic workflows built out as part of the capstone. We chose the top 4, which honestly was a bit of an impossible task. There were so many great ones. It was one of the harder things I've done, is to try to just choose 4. But we chose 4, and they were like an interesting mix. They were everything from like writing full product requirements documents using AI to take mining support cases each week and then summarizing the results of all the support cases across different product areas so that PMs can react to it. Another one was like, okay, I'm gonna I know I need to improve the explainability of a particular feature in the product, and was a prototype of actually a feature that we are now planning to ship. So there was lots of great ones. We call it our executive staff, or E-staff, which is our C-suite, and we got about 20 minutes of their time, and we did 5-minute demos of each, hands-on demos, actually showcasing these workflows with a few sentences on the projected impact. And people were really impressed. I think maybe the best evidence of people being impressed was that I had multiple C-suite executives reach out to me afterwards asking how can they do this type of training for their teams.
Perfect. That's great. And that's exactly what you want, right? Number one is they were engaged, they like what you did, and the fact is, how can we do more? Like, you cannot get a better endorsement than that. And I mean, and if you think about it, I mean, Eli, the boot camp itself was only 6 weeks. I mean, we did the boot camp. When was it? April or May of this year, right? And it's been 3 months, and you're already seeing how your PMs have taken over, gone even beyond what we did there, right? And so the results are, not only the results are fantastic, but the speed of results is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if folks are hungry for this, I think people also, the PMs on the team were very, very happy that they were given this learning opportunity. Like, the overwhelming feedback from the PMs on the team was like, wow, I feel like I've really grown as a PM. Like, these are very tangible, day-to-day applicable new skill sets that I can apply. And they felt like it was a really, really great growth opportunity for them, which
that's good.
Is also all about, like, ensuring that the PMs, feel like that SentinelOne is a place that they can grow. Which is, of course, important to a lot of things, not just the output of the PMs, but retaining our great PMs.
Yeah,
as well.
Attracting and retaining. I mean, you know how hard it is to hire good PMs, and especially in your industry, it's even harder, And so if you could do a good job of retaining and attracting, that is half the battle right there. So again, I love the second order benefits and the primary benefits. So I'm curious, when you were going through this transformation approach, and why I can say that you're still in the process of approaching, because I think your vision of being able to have every PM build code or clickable prototype that code that they can share with engineering is where we're going as well. What has been the most surprising part of this journey? Like, what some of the things you did not expect, but are there any things that just surprised, like, oh, interesting?
I thought one of the really cool things that came out of the training was, I mentioned that we chose, 4 of the top ones.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting mix of the PMs that were recognized for that. It was a junior PM that had just joined the company maybe 3 months earlier in
Nice.
Czech Republic, a mid-level PM in Israel, another mid-level PM that joined the company even sooner, like 1 month ago, and then one of our most senior PMs in Israel. And so everyone embraced it, ranging from the people that have been here for years to the people that just joined like a month ago, across all seniority levels, across all regions of the globe. That was, I think, to me, that was like the coolest thing. It wasn't just that, the PMs and the AI team were embracing this. It was literally the full spectrum.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because sometimes when I talk to our clients, they're like, well, should I just give it to my junior PMs, right? And I'm like, no, this is something that you should embrace. Everybody should embrace, including the leaders itself, because they can, like the example that you gave earlier, they themselves can be more productive and effective, and be better at managing their teams. I'm curious, with all of this energy that you have now, are you thinking about, are there any organizational changes you want to make, or how are you thinking about operationalizing it? Are you thinking about process changes? Where are you going after this?
No organizational changes, from an org structure perspective. Mainly because, like, I see this as a tool set, for everyone, as opposed to, sort of centralized in any part of the org. In terms of operationalizing it, that part has been tricky because, like I was mentioning, this is a very much a bottom up effort. And frankly, like, ChatGPT is awesome. It still has some things to be said when it comes from like a reporting perspective. It's not like I can't like download like really nice reports from ChatGPT about, which custom GPTs are being used by who and by when. It's like it's a bit painful to get that data out of ChatGPT. So some of this has to be anecdotal, but we've done some small things, nudges to ensure that this sticks. So like our product requirements document template, our PRFAQ template, at the very top of it now includes like the links to the custom GPTs that we want folks using when they're writing this. We actually have a required question about which AI tooling did you use
very nice.
to develop this requirements document. And I'm also like, I'm trying to reward behavior as well. So next week we're going to have a PM all hands where the folks that have been working on AI-based prototyping are going to demonstrate their work to the larger team and really give folks a forum to showcase, sort of the cool stuff that they're doing. And recognize that work.
I think that's perfect. I like, this. So even the small things that you're talking about have a huge impact, right? Just having the idea, having people fill in which GPT they use or which large language model they use is a way to reinforce behavior, saying, hey, number one is this is expected, right?
Yeah.
So, because you and I talked about the fact is that, there are sometimes in some organizations, which I'm glad it's not happening with you guys, is that even after the boot camp, the usage kind of falls off,
Mhm.
right? And so how do you sustain that momentum by just doing the small things that you talked about is huge. And then continuing to showcase what you're doing next week is another reinforcement lever, right? And so you're just trying to make it, like I said earlier, just trying to make it part of your DNA goes a long way, right? And then I'm going to cross pollinate here because one of the things Ben talked about in the podcast yesterday was he's now part of a squad that you put together, right? So tell us more about the squad, if that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, so this one is very organic. So we have, we use Slack at SentinelOne, and there is now a very active channel called the AI PM Squad, where I actually, I'm always on Slack, but there's usually too many channels for me to pay
Yeah,
attention in terms of looking at them all. So I'm not in this channel very much, but it's become one of the more active Slack channels within the PM community and within SentinelOne as a whole, with just folks just like actively sharing ideas about how to use AI for different processes, and also just sharing sort of recent news that they found interesting
perfect.
about the
Yeah,
latest and greatest. Hey, have you guys seen the new Chat GPT agent? Like, I wonder how we can use this inside the company. Here are some use cases where it might be
yeah.
fun to implement. So
I think
this
it's
this
good.
is very much part of the bottom
Yeah,
up. Like the PMs
yeah,
are just
yeah. And that continuous
uh,
learning helps as well. Actually, we actually have a question from the audience. So, Ali, thank you for being patient with us. So, Eli, Ali has a question for you guys, or for you. He's like, so number one, I'm just going to read it. Great to hear this. I would imagine that this sort of transformation requires a level of standardization across process, documentation, so on and so forth. I'm wondering if you can elaborate on how you resolve some of these issues across different teams and across global PMs as well. Because, I mean,
mm,
Eli, it's a great question because you do have a very distributed team, right? And you
yeah,
have in different regions, different time zones, different languages, different ways of doing things, right?
yep,
So I'm curious how you to respond to Ali's question. And Ali, thank you for the
yeah,
question.
yeah. It's a
And by
good
the way, if there's
question.
others out there, give us the questions, please. We love questions. So
So with it's I'll break that the answer into two pieces. So in terms of implementing it within the PM organization, that's been relatively straightforward because we have very well defined PM processes at this point. And so plugging in AI tooling into them. But I think the question is really about, okay, the cross functional, cross organizational
yeah,
implementations. Um, so if I think about like the AI prototyping piece, um, we formed a team to do evaluations of different products,
mm,
and that team includes folks not just from the PM organization, but also from the
the
UX design,
engineering.
UX research, and engineering organizations.
Perfect.
And they're collectively coming up with not only the recommendation of which tool we think is best, but the process that we
Yeah,
will collectively use. And in this case, like the AI prototyping is not really a existing process we're trying to fit it into. It will be a net new process. This is just something that we're not doing today.
yeah,
Um, so it's we're really inventing a new process to accommodate this, but we think that it will be very
yeah,
valuable. Um, on the documentation pieces, I'd say we have a well defined PM plus documentation engagement or interlock process. And so that one is more along the lines of plugging into our PM processes.
yeah.
There's a well-defined process that we're plugging in a uniform way across the full organization. We're
I'm
not
curious.
quite as big as AWS, so like the sort of the processes that we have are fairly
Yeah.
standardized across the full organization.
I'm curious as a follow-up to that one. As your PM team has been speeding up, um, has there been any type of I don't want to use pushback because that's not that's a negative term, but what has been the ramifications on the other teams, right? Like you said, part of it is they also need to speed up, so to speak, or they also need to level up on AI. But what has been some of those cross-functional pieces? Because PMs work so much across different organizations or different silos, right?
Yeah.
What has been the impact on those teams, and how have you resolved some of those issues?
Yeah. Well, I think in a lot of cases, the quality of our work is going up, which
Yeah.
of course is received warmly
Yeah.
cross functionally.
Yes.
Um, like when we first started writing PRFAQs as a PM team, um, it was tough because we have probably 2/3 of our PM team is English as a second language.
Mm,
Um, and writing a 6-page narrative when you're English as a second language, it's not the easiest task.
yeah.
Um, and using AI tooling, I think, has increased the quality of our writing and allowed us to engage in a better way with our cross-functional partners around these documents, including UX, docs, and engineering and marketing.
Perfect.
So from that perspective, like folks think it's great. Now, um, I will say that we're probably working faster now as well. Um, so we're producing more documentation than more requirements,
Yep.
documents than before, which does put some additional workload on folks. Um, you know, ultimately, my goal with that is to become a more and more decentralized organization.
Yeah.
In that, as we increase the quality, less and less things should need to go through executive level review, where
Yeah.
things can oftentimes
Yeah.
bottleneck.
Yeah.
So, using the increase in quality as a way to also decentralize decision making more is
We can
part
go
of the
faster.
strategy here.
Yeah. I like that. I like that insight because now you truly are creating autonomous pods, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
um, in which they are like I can see I can envision a future in which you have an autonomous pod of a PM, a designer, and an engineer working together on a product
Yeah,
or a feature on their own. They have all the guardrails with the digital twins that you set up and using the custom GPTs that you set up. So quality is built in as they go through the work itself, right? And so now suddenly they are just they're on their they're just basically flying. They're on their own,
yeah.
right? Um,
I mean, just like this is true, I think, across industry right now. It's like people are able to produce more with less and at higher velocity.
yeah,
You go on LinkedIn any day, you'll see these stories about these like 10-person
yeah,
teams scaling to tens of millions of dollars of
yeah,
ARR, which is like unheard of before. I think
yeah.
like the big sort of question out there: who's going to be the first one-person team that scales $100 million ARR?
Yeah,
It's like people say that tongue in cheek, but there's certainly a kernel of truth there that this may be the
100%.
reality and not do this in the future.
I agree.
So, like, given those circumstances, given a non-coder can put out like 10,000 lines of code a week now using vibe
Yeah,
coding tools. Um, you know, Organizational processes have to change, or
yeah,
else things will bottleneck around those legacy
yeah,
processes. And so, I think the only way that like an organization like SentinelOne can embrace AI and get full value out of AI is to further decentralize decision making. Like, I should not have to review every like tier 1 and tier 2 release. Like, that has to
Yeah,
be further decentralized down into the teams.
I agree. I think that's the only way to move faster. There was something else you mentioned, and I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask you this question: is that you're saying that, and I agree with your point of view, is that now you need more PMs, not less, right? Because one of the things that most people had the idea is like, well, if it makes me more efficient and productive, maybe I don't need that big of a product team, right? But you're seeing the opposite. So tell me more about how you came to that conclusion, because I 100% agree. I think when it's easier to build, deciding what to build becomes a much more critical function, and that's a PM function,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of discussion out there like about which jobs are going away
Yeah,
as AI gets better and better. Um, I don't think the PM job is ever going away. I do think PMs are going to be able to scale themselves dramatically.
yeah,
Um, when I think about historically as a PM, like where I spent the most of my time, it was around like writing
documentation.
documents,
Yeah,
writing status reports,
yeah,
writing narratives, writing strategy documents. That's probably where I spent the biggest chunk of my time. And now with AI, like I can dramatically
yeah,
shrink the time I spend on those things. But PMs will always be needed because of their decision making capability and their creativity and the need to be that mini CEO
yeah.
for their product area. But the velocity of PM work is gonna continue to increase.
Yeah.
Um, and but yeah, I don't think that job's ever going away.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think PMs are not only do that, will they be able to do more and faster? And I think as coding and development gets easier and easier for a company like SentinelOne or anyone else, now when building gets easier, they have the problem becomes is like, what do we build now? Right? Because in
Yep,
large organizations, historically, development has always been a bottleneck because it's hard,
for
right?
sure.
But now with AI, if development becomes easier, I'm like, okay, now we can enter and exit markets and products and features much faster. And so deciding what builds becomes harder, and that's why I think, like, I agree with you. PM roles are not going anywhere. I actually personally think that we actually will need more PMs and not less.
Yeah,
um,
I mean, like I think that in order for to compete at the company level in this new world, we have to ship products faster.
yeah,
And so you're always going to have sort of PMs quarterbacking, these product areas, the new product areas, um, and they're just going to be shipping product faster now. I think that's going to be the key.
that's the key. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's shipping products faster and hopefully shipping, uh, adding the creativity and so on and so forth, and that just makes the job more fun, which is hopefully what you're seeing in the engagement service, right?
Yes. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, next one is in I guess 9 months or so. So we'll
Oh,
be
good.
hopefully
Yeah.
seeing some great results coming out of that.
So two things. One question and then one comment, if that's okay. You are clearly ahead than most people, right? And you started earlier. You made the investment in the bootcamp and the program. You made the investment in the tools. You're allowing your PMs to use these things. For CPOs or companies who are just right now getting their heads around this idea or still trying to figure this out, any one or two lessons learned or words of wisdom of how they can get started that you want to share with them?
Um, I think certainly leading by example
Yes.
is critical. I think as a product leader, jumping deep into it yourself and actually getting, hands-on
Yeah.
keyboard, building custom GPTs, building agentic workflows, and showing your team that this is important because you're doing it is probably
It sets the
the
bar.
number one thing that I would recommend.
Okay. Awesome. You know what? We will have to. I would love to see where you guys are a year from now. So if it's okay with you, I'm gonna book some time with you 1 year from now and
All
see where
right,
you
sounds good.
are. But thank you very much for being a great guest. Thank you for thank you for everything. It was great to work with you guys. But this has been a great show. We'll post this up, of course, as soon as this goes out. But this has been great, and I would love to see where you guys are a year from now, because I think you guys are just on a trajectory that is it's astronomically fast. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mustafa, and yeah, looking forward to continuing to stay in touch here and
awesome.
and
Perfect.
sharing our results.
Yes, I can't wait to see where you guys end up with.
Cool. Thank you.